How do you get into top MFT programs? Stick around and let's talk about the 8 keys that are going to get you in today on this episode of Navigating Academia. What's up, Navigating Academia family? This is your buddy and personal academic mentor, Dr. Phoenix Singh. Thank you so much for watching this video. I appreciate the heck out of you. Today, we're going to be talking about the 8 things that you need if you want to get into a top MFT program. I can tell y'all that I've been in academia for 20 years. I've been helping people in terms of one-on-one consultations now for half a decade with an over 80% success rate of getting people into their target programs. So when I say that these are the 8 things that you need, I'm not talking off the top of my head. I'm telling you right now that these are the things that you need. It is more difficult now than ever to be able to get into these programs, and it's really important not just to talk about the things that you need to get in, but also the most common misconceptions. This is why we have the bullshit button.
Oh, come on now, that ain't even bullshit. That's horse shit.
There you go. So whenever you hear me hit this button, the reason is that what you have been told in the past simply is not true. I'll tell you right now that usually the people that you hear this kind of advice from that I'm about to mention, they're usually, colleagues, friends. These are people who are maybe personal mentors. They're even professors in your department or even people who are in career services at your university. They mean well, but they don't understand how brutal it is to be able to get in now in a post-COVID world. Now, obviously, COVID was a while ago, but after COVID, the number of applicants for MFT programs absolutely exploded, and it's more difficult to get in now than ever before. So it's important to be able to talk about these things. Without further ado, let's jump right in. First thing that you need is a good GPA. What do I mean when I say a good GPA? For your target programs, I recommend only applying to 3 to 5. You may say, Jay, you're out of your mind, but I'm telling you right now, 3 to 5 programs. People are applying to 10, 15, 20 programs every year for consultations. I end up getting applicants calling me in tears or their parents contacting me saying, Dr. Singh, I just don't know what to do. They got, literally rejected from 10, 15, 20 programs because you didn't spend enough time tailoring your application materials to each program because you applied to too many. This happens every year. 3 to 5, ironically, you're going to max out your chances if you do the right thing to be able to get in, all right? Get in touch with whoever an admissions counselor is from the university that you want to get into in that department, and I want you to ask them for the median GPA for the last 2 to 3 years in terms of incoming cohorts. If you can hit that median GPA, don't worry about getting a 4.0 out of 4.0, all right? You just need the median or above, I'm promising you right now, all right? The second thing is median or above test scores. For example, it could be something like the GRE. Now, in some cases, you'll be told, you know what, don't submit something like the GRE, we don't need it, we're not gonna look at it, but I'm telling you right now that if you actually include that score, let's say at the top of your CV next to your GPA, or include it in your personal statement, they're still going to see it. And they'll say that they're not going to take it into consideration. But if you have a great GRE score, that is going to easily be influential, even if they say it's not going to be, just because of implicit bias. Even if it's not something that's intentional on their behalf, it's still going to color their perception of you in terms of a quality of a candidate. All right, so that's number 2, median or above GRE scores. If they don't require it, the likelihood that when you call or when you email and you ask for those scores that they're going to give them to you is basically nothing. In other words, just try to score as high as you can on something like the GRE, and if you don't score very high, that's okay, just don't submit your scores because it's not required anyway, all right? That's number 2. Number 3, amazing letters of recommendation. Preferably one from an academic supervisor, preferably undergrad, or it could be somebody who is one of your favorite professors in a mental health related course, like let's just say abnormal psychology, for example. All right, a course where you know the professor knows you, you like them, they like you participated in class, you went to office hours and you got a top grade. That is what we're looking for here, all right? Somebody who knows you academically and can talk about your academic achievements, your GPA, your academic awards, all that good stuff, being on the dean's list, anything like that. That's all they're going to talk about. Then somebody who is something like, and we'll talk about this in a moment, but a clinical supervisor for a clinical experience that you ended up having. I am hoping that if you got a clinical experience, you had somebody who had a positive experience with you and was in a supervisory position who will be willing to write you an amazing letter of recommendation. Talk about your bedside manner, your ability to practically apply evidence-based best practices. That's what we're looking for. That's number 2. Number 3 is going to be that we're looking for individuals individuals to be letter writers who hopefully have some experience with you in the capacity of being a research assistant. Not a grad student, not a postdoc. They must be a professor, all right? Even if a professor didn't supervise you, you can let the grad student or postdoc know that they're the ones who need to sign off on it, i.e. the professors, not they themselves, all right? So super duper important. Now, number 4 and number 5, relatedly, obviously practical experience, like a clinical internship, part-time job, full-time job. This could also be some volunteer position that you had, anything where you were working with a historically marginalized population, like the homeless or individuals who are currently in an elderly facility, for example. It could be at a mental health facility, including a private practice, whatever it happens to be. So that's the next one, all right? And then research experience, even if it's only marginally related to mental health. For example, I worked in a behavioral genetics lab, right? But it's just one of these situations where you just need to show a commitment to the generation of new knowledge, all right? So anything that could be related to marital, to family, any of these sorts of issues, really that is what we're looking for. And if nothing else, something related to mental health would be ideal. So you may be thinking to yourself, Dr. Singh, this is amazing. I've got all 5 of those. This means I'm a shoo-in for my favorite programs. I'm telling you, I'm sorry, it's just not the case. It used to be, right? But now it's just not good enough. If you want to get into a top program, you really need to do something special to stand out. So this is where the 3 things that you really need, in my opinion, are number 1, conference presentations. Not at undergraduate conferences, not at your university conference, anything like this. I'm talking about a national or international conference that is known, liked, and trusted by the leaders in your field, all right? Very important. So I'm a psychologist, so it would be something like APA, APS, or a conference of a division of the APA. I'm a forensic psychologist, so something like the American Psychology Law Society, which is Division 41, all right? Preferably a paper presentation. If you can't get that opportunity, poster presentation is gonna be just fine. If you don't know how to write applications to be able to get a paper or a poster accepted into a top program, all right, I need you to go to publicationacademy.com, which is the #1 website on the internet when it comes to getting trained as a grad school applicant, regardless of whether it's MFT, MSW, PsyD, PhD, doesn't matter. If you want to learn how to be able to do these key tasks in academia, like getting in to grad school, peer-reviewed publication writing, grant writing, or conference proposal writing, that's the place you go, okay? The next thing here is going to be peer-reviewed publications. Like I mentioned, here we're talking about edited book chapters, academic books, and peer-reviewed journal articles. If you get one of any of those, you are going to be so above and beyond everybody else who's applying, you have to trust me on it. But it is the most difficult thing to get. If you are working with somebody in a lab who makes you feel so good about yourself because they say, you can make your own project, you can be first author on a paper, you're amazing, I believe in you, I'll help you however I can, you'll be first author, you lead the project. You need to be worried and not honored, all right? You have to trust me. I've been doing this for 2 decades. Every year I have people who come and tell me that story and tell me how horrifically wrong it went, okay? If you're in that position, go to www.gradschoolapplicationcoach.com and book a session with me so we can talk about it, because you are in a dangerous situation, all right? I'm telling you right now, all right? And last but not least, number 8 is personal connections. I want you to try to make as many personal connections with faculty members, especially one particular faculty member who would be your target MFT program supervisor. Get in touch with them as soon as possible via email. Go to conferences that they're speaking at or other types of speaking engagements. Get to know them in person, one-on-one, and stay in touch with them by sending them an email with some new cool stuff that you're up to every 3 to 4 months, all right? So those are the 8 things that you need to do to be able to get into a top MFT program. As always, I love you guys. Thank you for watching. If you want a one-on-one session with me, gradschoolapplicationcoach.com, and make sure, like I mentioned, I cannot recommend it more highly. Check out publicationacademy.com. God bless you guys. I'll see you in the next one. Peace. Thank you so much for stopping by, everyone. It's a pleasure to have you here as always. If you enjoyed this video and you'd like to see more in this series on navigating academia, please click on one of these links over here to be able to view more original content. I hope to see you there.